Good afternoon. I'm Rick Minner, here to talk to you about our field. We're going to have our plowing area in for our Inman Farm Heritage Days this September. This is a very special field to me and to my family. You'll hear from my dad in a little bit, talking about when he was a boy growing up here, he and his dad, which is my grandfather, plowing in this field here. And then my daughter Stephanie and my wife Joanne have all plowed here. And hopefully during the show, I'm going to get my granddaughter Abigail out here. And that'll make 5 generations of our family that have plowed this Redland out here. This this part of our farm is 50 acres. On down the hill here going towards the show field, it turns to gray. Then it gets red as you go back up this way. And it looks like clay, but it's excellent growing soil. It's hard to work, hard to plow, but like now it's 90 something degrees today, and throughout the summer you can grow a whole lot more. We always have a lot better luck with our Christmas trees in the red land than we do in the gray. And I don't know what it is about it. Maybe it's some kind of volcanic dirt left over from long before any of us ever showed up here, but it's good solid. It's not clay. Like I say, it's not clay. It's really good soil, and we enjoy working it out here. And I'm gonna make a few rounds here, and then in our show in September, we'll let people come here and try their plows, or they can pull ours, and hopefully have a nice addition to our show.
We lived up there till I was 12 years old.
From when you were 5.
Yeah. What happened was that when the recession hit and everything, the Inman Farm, which is where that school is now, it was either 800 or 1,000 acres. I've seen both. I think it was it. But anyway, they lost the farm because it was didn't have enough left over after that year to pay the debts and pay the taxes. And I don't know whether I remember this very well or I just heard about it and think I do, but I can see it in my mind that we were living up there in the Donhop house. We had moved from there from Granny Manor's house after Aunt May and Uncle Harry and them moved to Fayetteville. And so I remember standing in that kitchen and Daddy coming home. He'd been to Jonesboro all day to sell his cotton crop. And I remember he said that, remember he told Mama, said, well, I didn't get enough money to pay the debts and the taxes. And so I remember that. And of course, not paying the taxes is what it wound up being sold on the courthouse steps. But there was no money. There was flat no money. And I remember a number of people, I've heard Daddy talking about it later, around us going bankruptcy. And Daddy would say, well, at least I didn't go bankruptcy. I didn't want to go bankruptcy because that sort of robs people. And so I can remember when Daddy would go to work in the Redland and so forth. And the Redland is over there where Horseman Run is now. But anyway, so I do remember that that after the farm was lost, that Daddy rented the place down there where Mickey now has his operation down there. Of course, only that little green house was there, but nothing else. And I remember that there was a red barn where Grace and Bill built that little house up there. And I remember we had animals there, and I remember plowing, Daddy plowing around there and so forth. But I, the reason I remember that red barn is that Papa Harp had given me a billy goat, and I had that billy goat, and Daddy went down to milk every morning, and I would go down there with him sometimes just in my pajamas or skivvies or something. But I remember being down there, going down there to milk with Daddy. I remember I was bent over watching him milk, and Daddy could really milk real good. And that billy goat came barreling down there and hit me in behind, sent me tumbling down there. And anyway, the goat disappeared. I never saw it again because Daddy used to get aggravated. I was the only grandchild in the Hart family, 6 years older than Johnny, who was second. And I remember that Papa Harp had brought me a collie dog. He had brought me a pig. He had brought me a sheep. And then he had brought me the goat. And Daddy said every time he looked up, Papa Harp was making me something to look after. But but the sheep, I remember that we were living up there where Donald is, and the room to the right as you walked in the door was virtually vacant. And I remember that somebody came there and sheared that sheep, and we put it in a bag, took it down to the post office, and put it on the up train and sold it somewhere in Atlanta. But I watched them shear that sheep, and I don't know where in the world the sheep shearer came from, but he did.
So how'd y'all end up down where we live now?
Well, I don't know what. There was a guy named Mr. Armour who lived down there, and how he happened to have that place, I don't know. I think it probably traces back to some of the Birch land, but anyway, I don't know how we. But I remember Daddy got a loan from the they had a farm bank that you could borrow money, and he borrowed from the what it was that farm loan bank,
Federal Land Bank.
Federal Land Bank, out of I think it's Columbia, South Carolina, where it was. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And so we
paid $500 for it.
What?
Paid $500 for it.
Yeah. And we moved down there, and two mules, Tom and Jerry, came with it. And so we went from, I don't know, Daddy must have been having maybe a 10-horse farm, 12 horse to the 2-horse farm. And the Redland was in such bad shape. Well, Mr. Armour had pulled up those terraces, which were there till you plowed them down with a hoe. But I had heard that it takes 100 years to make an inch of soil. But I know that the bottom part of the Redland wouldn't grow anything. And I remember that Daddy went to syrup mills with a wagon and get the cane that had been ground up. And he put that cane in the washers, which worked real well. And eventually it got where you could, we didn't plant cotton on it for maybe 10 years. But anyway, we got a loan from that Federal Land Bank, what it was, and then we rented I guess it was 50 acres across the road, and that's where that Lizzie and Ruby and Roy Murphy lived. Roy, they had to move to over in Clayton or Henry County with Uncle Robert or somebody when Daddy lost the farm. As soon as he got somewhere, they moved back, and they stayed with him all through my childhood. I know.
I know you talked about how many trips over it takes to make a crop plow with a mule.
Yeah.
How many does it take?
Well, in his book, Jimmy Carter claimed it takes 22. Uh, of course, in Plains, he was a grayland farmer. Up here, we were at least redland farmers, and just the plowing trips, I would say, takes at least 22. I once counted them up. It would take too long on your program to go through them now, but you have to have a number of trips to get ready to plant. Count that. You have to go around the cotton, what we used to call running around the cotton, so you can get it on a little where you can. First, you got to create a bed, which takes about 8 trips, and I would say it appears more like 30, but we don't have time on. I started writing them down before y'all got here, and I decided it's going to take too long out of what y'all are doing if we go to each of them. But no, you have to take a naked scooter and plow, so you got the young cotton sort of isolated on a little bar where it's chopped, and you got to go around it with a single scooter and a little bit of a half a scrape to get a little dirt back, and then it goes on and on till past the 4th of July, and you really had to plow every week, and of course every week when you plowed it was uh, you know it's one row down, one trip down this row, and then you come back on the same row on the other side. And then time you get through with a couple of rows, you created a middle, so you got to run the middle. So you got to, that's 3 rows you got to do, 3 trips. And it, just in my head, I think it takes about uh, 3 plowings, close to 3 weeks, until you get it where you can go in there with a pretty good size scooter and scrape and throw some dirt on the cotton. And so, but I would say it's if you want to take about 5 or 10 minutes, give me a pencil, I can count them up for you. But yeah, it takes at least I'd say 26 in this part of the country.
How much ground could you cover in a day plowing a mule?
What?
How much ground could you cover in a day plowing a mule?
Well, you couldn't quite get 5 acres. Really take about 2 acres to plow 5 acres.
Then you say you could tell the number of rows in each field, like when you're laying in a bed at night.
Oh, when I was off in college at University of Georgia, I could lie in my bed in North Georgia. I could see every row, count the long rows, the number of short rows, and so forth. Yeah, and I could still do it when I was in the army, and I could do it when I was back home from the army. I could do it till really maybe the past 20 years, but that sticks with you.
Now that place has gray land down by the house and red land up on here. What's the difference in farming in the red and the gray land?
A lot. It's the gray land is much easier. The because you can know how you have to throw dirt to cover up grass and so forth. You can manage that better in gray land without knocking over little young cotton because the gray land doesn't ball up and get as heavy as the red land. The red land gives you more for your effort, so it makes more than the gray land does.
Did the fact that it was Redland influence Pop buying it, or he just?
I don't think I don't think so. Maybe it did because I know that he always talked with great affection about the red land that they lost and so forth. It was good, and he would he used to speak of some of his relatives over in Clayton and Henry County as being gray land farmers, and I got the idea that he didn't think they were good farmers as red land farmers. Red land is a little harder to work, but it will make more.
How did the farm get to be known as a po farm back in the day?
Well, it was we actually had a poor farm in the county. It was out where the oh, I was about to say it was out where the Pope farm was located, but it was out on the way to Jonesboro. Just you know what we're talking about. What's
Not
that?
where the ball fields are now.
Yeah, right. And
McDonald Road.
and they actually had a farm out there where that if you were down and out and if you were male and you I don't know whether they had women that cook and so forth, but anyway, the people that had no way to make a living could go out there and live and at least have something to eat. And it was called a farm for the poor. And of course, we said po farm. And after Daddy had to come down from a pretty big operation to T mules, he named it the po farm. And it was because luck still had not run out when he bought the place when he got it from Mr. Armour. Mr. Armour in buying the farm, he got the two mules, Tom and Jerry. Well, in about the second year that we had that, right across the road to the left down there, to the right of about where Steffi's place is, somebody was out there plowing with the two mules one day, and old Jerry dropped dead. So you lost half your mule power.
What was a mule worth back then?
Well, I remember that the one we bought to replace the one that died cost $60, and it was a low price for a mule. And that mule had a bad shoulder, and it was a wasted $60 because when you'd be plowing it, it would be just drifting over off the road and everything, and you couldn't get it to stop. And we finally figured out it had a bad shoulder, and I forgot who it was in Fayetteville sold us a bad shoulder. We should have gotten our money back.
Tell us about him buying a tractor that we still have now, that John Deere.
I don't remember who he bought it from.
I think it came from over around McDonald, didn't it?
Yeah. I see. I think I was away in college when he bought that tractor, so I was not acquainted with it too well.
We hope y'all got as much enjoyment out of watching this video as we did out of making it. We're trying really hard to produce some videos that are worthwhile and help y'all learn about what we're doing here at Inman Farm Heritage Days. If you like it, if you don't mind, help us out, click that like button and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you on the next time.